Hey guys, so I kind of wanted to make a video to talk to you guys about like the whole hiring process that I went through for my special education paraprofessional job that I am currently working. I have worked 2 days so far without students. Well, I did have students yesterday, but I only had 3, and not all of those students are part of the class that I will be helping to run. However, I don't really want to talk about the students in this video. I just want to talk about like the whole hiring process, just in case anybody's curious about like what it consisted of, what kinds of things I had to do, and like the timeline of everything. So for those of you who didn't know, like I said, I am currently working as a special education paraprofessional within the early childhood special education setting. So what that means is we have kids from age 3 to 5 in our room, but I am also a resource for the second half of the day. So I can go into a different classroom. I can pull a student out of the classroom to come back to our classroom to work on things. Whether that's reading or whatever their IEP has in place for them. So let's talk about the whole hiring process. So actually, when I first applied at the school, I did not apply for the special education paraprofessional position. I actually applied for the K through 6 secretary position because my most recent job was as the church secretary. So basically I thought, I could continue my secretary job, just in a different place. Well, during the interview for that position, they actually thought that I was a perfect fit for their special ed paraprofessional job. And they had 2 positions open at the time that I interviewed for the secretary position. So they basically told me that they wanted me to apply for the paraprofessional position. And then after I left that interview for the secretary job, I went straight home and filled out the application for the special education paraprofessional job. This was all in May/June, I want to say. It was towards the end of the school year. And I think last year, school ended like around June 8th or something like that. So fast forward to after I applied for the paraprofessional job, I got a phone call a couple weeks later saying that I didn't get the secretary job, but they wanted to interview me for the paraprofessional position. So I set up the interview for that, went to the interview, and went home not really knowing how everything went. Like I felt like it went good, but I wasn't too sure. And it was like hard for me to read their reactions. I know that 2 of them were kind of looking at each other and really like nodding their heads like they were liking what I was saying. And a couple hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours after I went home from that interview, they called to offer me the position. I accepted. And so from there, I had to go into the school to fill out new hire paperwork. Now at that time, I hadn't had my last name legally changed, so I ended up having to do a second set of the same paperwork with my new last name since my divorce was finalized and I changed my name as part of my divorce. I had to go back in a couple days ago when I started to, like the day that I started, I had to fill out another set of new hire paperwork. Now, part of the new hire process is that you have to fill out this paperwork, you have to submit to a very thorough background check, and you also have to be fingerprinted with the state of Michigan. So I had a couple options as far as fingerprinting. I could do it through, I forget what it was. There was a company that you could go to, but the closest location they had was like an hour and 15 minutes away or 2 hours away. And so other than those 2 options, I could just walk in at any point in time to my local sheriff's department to get my fingerprints done. And that's what I decided to do because I really didn't want to have to make an appointment and, you know, drive to another city in order to get these fingerprints done. I just kind of wanted to get it all done as soon as possible. When I got hired, it was June 23rd, and school doesn't start until Monday. Today is Friday. And school starts August 29th. So by the time you guys are seeing this, I will have, you know, already started everything like that. But you had to wait for fingerprints to come back, and then they would have you come in and finish paperwork. And it was all semi-disorganized, like from the very start. I was not really getting a whole lot of strong communication from the central office at the school. So I was kind of like initiating all of the conversations to try to figure out like what is the next step in the process? Like, what do I need to do now? Do I need to have this done before I start? You know, stuff like that. Part of it was because of the whole issue with my name change. They wanted to make sure that they had the right name on the documents, because they did have my previous married last name, because I hadn't gone to Social Security or to Secretary of State to get like my Social Security card changed or my driver's license changed to my new legal last name. So that kind of like screwed up having to do paperwork and things like that, just trying to get everything situated. So for the most part, it was very simple and straightforward. I do want to talk about like the whole new hires orientation type process, because that was a bit of a mess. And I think that it's something that you may need to be prepared for if this is a field that you're looking into going into, because there are other people I've talked to that work in either education or special education specifically that have had similar or even worse, like new hire orientation / training for someone who has no experience as a special education paraprofessional or just as a paraprofessional in general. A lot of people have similar stories to what I experienced as far as like new hire orientation and all of that. So I will make a separate video talking more about that. Like I said, I got hired around June 23rd, and from June 23rd until August 23rd, I hadn't really heard much from the school. And August 23rd is when we started like our week of professional development days before school started on the 29th. So like I said, if you're interested in my whole experience with like new hire orientation and the training that they have offered us as new paraprofessionals and just new hires, because there's a whole bunch of new hires at the school that I work at, and there are 2 new paraprofessionals, which is myself and one other woman. So like I said, if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that. I will share my whole experience with new hire orientation. I'm kind of still going through it a little bit, but like I said, I will talk more about that in that video. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next time.